Well, here we are at Damon Lane County Park, and I thought we might take a quick walk. And as usual, we're going to look at the animals, the wildlife, in this case, the plants. Let's focus on the chaparral a little bit, and the geology, and as usual, a little bit about Stone Age peoples. So let's take. And here are some nice native ants. And a nice science experiment would be to stand here and count for 1 minute how many ants come in or out of the hole, and then try that in the morning and try that in the evening and try it at night, and see how the numbers vary. Does it have to do with the time of day, or does it have to do with the temperature? What controls that? But these are ant heroes, because these developed here. You can see they have no need for humans. They're right out here in Damon Lane Park. Well, so what I wanted to show you a little bit out here is like a battle, a war going on out here amongst all the plants. And you can see a little bit of that behind me. And I wanted to also discuss some of the plant strategies, because California and San Diego especially get pretty dry. And so how do the plants deal with this? Well, right in front of us, you see, you got part of the battle going on. You've got some native plants below, and then you've got the palms that have moved in. And where do they move in? Well, look, right into the creek bed. Why would they want the creek bed? Well, that's the most important part of the whole habitat here. You got to have water. And so look, here's even a sumac right down, getting as close to the water as possible. And so this is where a little bit of the battle is going on here. Well, I know what you're thinking. Creek bed? What are you talking about? I didn't see any water over there. Well, actually, you can see where the creek bed is. You can see where the water is just by looking at the plants. And that's what we call riparian growth. Those plants have to grow down where there's always water. So where's the water? It's underground right now. Don't worry, the roots know where it is. Okay, and over here, you got more of the drier stuff that's not riparian. It doesn't have to grow in the creek. This is the chaparral that's so famous for burning and eking out a living here. So if you look over here, a lot of this chaparral, this is just coastal sage. Is it dead? No, there's some black sage in front, chaparral broom. All these plants have one thing in common. They have tiny leaves that helps to keep their water in. And you can see two of them here go dead, or not dead, they go to sleep, they go dormant when it's dry. Whereas over here, with the sumac, it likes waxy leaves and a particular shape of the leaves that kind of shade it. But here we're looking right down into that creek bed. So these plants, including Mexican fan palms and willow and like a black walnut out there, like to grow down in the creek, even though the water's down below. The chaparral behind me, you see, it has to come up with a different strategy to deal with not being in the creek, so it doesn't get as much water. So this stuff goes to sleep during the summer, during the dry season, and this stuff, it just stays awake. But believe it or not, this whole field right here all burned down to the ground about 8 years ago. And you'd never believe that. But you see, this kind of stuff likes to burn every now and again. And why? See how dry that is? It's ready to go. And that's why our hills burn up so well. And that sumac, same thing. It likes to burn up. So why does it like to burn? Well, you see, that's one way of dealing with your enemies that are trying to hog in on your habitat. And so if you can burn, and the plant that's trying to hog in, like this one right here, look, it's an olive tree, you see. They're really not native, but they're trying to move in, and they're very efficient at it. As a matter of fact, they're a big problem. And so these plants that don't belong here, well, maybe they can't deal with the fire as well. And so after the fire, look at how big these sumac are. You'd think these were 50 years old. I can actually go relax in the shade, and actually there's much more shade now. But now we've got kind of one plant out there, and that's sumac. Here in front of us, there's a pepper tree trying to move in on the sumac. There's the olive tree. So it's a battle out here for space, light, nutrients. So the closer we get down to this creek, the more riparian it is. And so this is one tip-off if you're out in the country and you're looking where to dig for water, let's say. Well, you dig where the trees are, and you'll actually see where the creek bed is. This side ahead of us here, this is all the chaparral away from it. So these plants all have a system for dealing with the drought. Usually small leaves, they go dormant. The ones that don't go dormant, they have a different strategy, maybe waxy leaves. These over here, they got plenty of water. That's the riparian habitat, and of course that's got a certain type of bird life, and related to it, this has got a different sort of bird life. So these are all the plants that you'd find just down the street from Willow Grove School. You walk up to Black Mountain, you're going to see that chaparral broom. You're going to see a lot of these sleeping looking plants with the brown puffballs on top, and that's going to be your flat top buckwheat. And here's your coastal sage. So were there Stone Age people here in Damon Lane Park? Well, the answer has to be definitely. I found, of course, that if you like the place, Stone Age people like the place. Because you like places that have water and shade and nice running features like that, and so did they. Only it was more even a matter of survival. Now here down below us, you got like about a 30-foot drop from here to the other side there. And now I'm standing just about where the big drop-off begins at the creek here. And there'll be a little bit of water, but look at this big arroyo or valley that this creek is actually formed historically when there was much more water flowing. And so we're going to walk down to the bottom of it just to take a little view down there and see what it looks like. So we'll walk down here downhill carefully. Somebody's been nice enough to make a trail here since the old days. Oh my goodness, we're down. Look at all the dirt that has been eroded away to make those San Diego beaches for us. Sooner or later, this is actually part of the Sweetwater drainage, and this was one of the little surprises I had in mind for you here, was look at the growth down here, the plant life, which is going to attract your wildlife. Hey, look at that, I got you a creek, a running creek, and that was a little surprise. We're going to get some of that pond scum as usual. And if you'll excuse me, I'm going to grab some of this and see what kind of organisms that we spot with a microscope. Yeah, you see, if you ran this water level back all the way back to the beginning of our walk and you dug 30 feet down or less, there'd be the water. Now, since we've gone downstream and we must have hit some bedrock of some sort, the water's not soaking in anymore, and here it is, ground level. And the flies like this place too, and I can't blame them. So you can see in that battle between the native plants and non-native, see, we got olive down there and the palm trees that come from Africa and the eucalyptus that comes from Australia. And then you can see down in front of us here is there's a little bit of stuff that's fighting back. And right behind us up this way, you can see it's much harder to hog in up in the dry spot. So any place that is adapted to no water well, we don't have as much trouble out there. So we'll take our microscopic samples back to the lab and some pictures of these plants, and note that this is kind of middle October here. So notice the plants in October, whereas in April, how about January? This place is going to come alive because we're going to get some rain. The rainy season will come, and this place is going to light up. Well, you can see some organisms moving around through there. You know, when I take the video off, I may be able to zoom in on those a little bit better. Right now, they're speeding around. I'm going to move it. There was a big... Let's look for it. Go around the whole slide here fast. This thing did not want to be in the view. It kept on moving away from me. But look at all those organisms. See, it's like another ecosystem. And these are the producers. You can see they're green, they're producing food, and a lot of them actually move around. We'll find some of those later. Not sure what this is. Maybe a tiny snail? But it's a large organism for this microscopic pond world. It's like a knight in shining armor. Completely protected, could go bull through that. It might be grazing through the algae like a feeder. Well, there's something there. Let's see what that is. We'll zoom in, giving it the old pause. There he is. Okay, now stay there a minute, stay there. Looks like a roundworm to me. See, that would be under the animal family. It would be multicellular, but right behind him is I think a euglena. And you got that. Okay, we'll follow him a little bit. I'm on high power right now, so this is about it. I'll see if I can fine tune the focus. You can see like the insides of might be a flatworm. Big difference between a flatworm and a roundworm. Trying to see if I can see a digestive system there. What do you think? Sometimes they're like this, they're transparent. You can see their insides. Well, we'll move on. Let's go and... Well, this is a new drop of water. This is so, whoa. Do I see little hair-like things on that? Let me see. Oh, I know what that was. That's I think that's a mosquito larva. I've seen them big and I've seen them small. This is the biggest one I've seen, but those are little hairs coming out of both sides, aren't they? And look at the end, let's see for a little grabber. I would say these things are pretty common in this water, my goodness. And every place seems to have different organisms. So the organism, you learn one here and you might pick it up in a different pond of water. But right here, man, oh man, these guys are dominating.